wait to show you who our next champion is going to be next week at 5 o'clock at this time. If you look right now, I'm showing you where everyone's ranking is after round 2, and we are going into the round 3 finals. And we're going to be talking about different things about how we break down judging. And I know I also I have our head judge here, Ian Murphy, and we're going to talk to him more. But I would like to share with you guys how when I'm judging, even though I'm not judging throughout the year, how I break down video as well. And also we have a great special performance from Ian, and he hasn't sung in eons, and he did this especially for us to show you that being the head judge, he really wanted to put together something special and sing for you guys. But we also have Miranda Longaker, or Myra Disu, her new single we're going to be showing the video for. But before we move on to that, I want to show you where these rankings are. Right now in first place, we have Renee Turcotte. Second place, we have Beth Brennan. Third place, we have Corrine Beckman. Chris Hoffman's in fourth. In fifth place, we have Veronica Moon. In sixth place, we have Paul Meyer, or Mayer. And then in seventh place, we have Grant Cullum. Eighth place, we have Rebecca Washburn. Ninth place, we have Camille Gomez. And 10th place, we have Parnell Lester. Now, before I'm going to leave this really quick and say, hello, everybody. How are you all doing? It's great to see you. So if you saw how close those scores are, it is really easy to go actually from last, not really easy. It's still hard, but it's easier to move. As you see, there's not much of a big spread between our top 10. What Katie and I always like to talk about is that when we get to this part, when we get to the national finals, we can take any of our top 10 or top 12 and send them to worlds. Every single one of these people are worlds worthy. Now it's just paring down who those top people are who are going to be the best representation of the U.S. And each one of these singers have really put their best foot forward and really been battling it through, some through COVID, some through schedules. And this happens every year, whether or not it's on stage or it's virtual. And while we're in the virtual realm still, there was a lot of things that I saw that always happen at nationals, like illness and scheduling and things like that. And it's really cool how we can still get that essence of the Karaoke World Championships, even when it's virtual. And all these singers have really done an amazing job. I cannot wait for next week when we show everyone's videos and how much work they put in. There's going to be some big surprises along the way. I still don't know what the results are. None of our board knows what the results are. There's only, I believe, 2 people in the organization who know what those results are. And they're not sharing it with me. I actually told them not to. I'll find out later in the week when we're putting together that final presentation. And I know everyone's on the edge of their seats in our board and in our coaching and everything, and our production team. And it's going to be exciting. And I wish I had more news for you right now. And while we have those results in, again, we have to produce that show next week. And so you got to tune in. But I'm going to bring in our chairman of the jury, Mr. Ian Murphy. Hi, Ian.
Good evening, Josh. How the devil are you?
I'm good. And when you say devil, I feel like the devil, knowing that we do have scores for the finals and that we can't share it. And they're not even being shared with me, but that's actually by personal choice.
Well, we don't have the scores.
Right. We don't personally have the scores, but our team, meaning the producer and also our also Vicky, who's on the admin team, also has seen those scores. I don't know actually if Vicky has seen the final scores of them all added up, but man, it's going to be a close one. And Katie just keeps messing with us and messing with me when I'm like, just wanting to get some kind of hint, some idea. But that's also how Katie plays that game with all of us, not only us as a production team, but singers and everything else. And I appreciate it, actually. I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. But Ian, you had a great time judging this whole season and helping with all the judges and getting everyone together. You and Thomas. Thomas was a great coordinator, and really pairing these final singers for this, and also getting them prepared not only for you guys judging, but also when they're going in and coaching. I feel like this time around they might have had a clearer vision of what they needed after they got your notes and your scores, especially in that last week.
I hope so. As a group with the judges, we've spent a lot of time this year talking about what are the judging criteria, what are we looking for, and ultimately the reason that's so important is not just to succeed in this competition, but because our scoring criteria matches the expectations for Worlds.
Right.
And so it's, we don't want somebody to win a competition by being absolutely fabulous and then say, but you can't do two of those things at Worlds, and you've got to hurry up and retool and rechange what you do in time to try and win that competition. Our goal is to find another world champion. And if we're going to do that, it's by setting that foundation of this is what they're looking for. This is what we need to accomplish, how you get scored. So we start that expectation now. And in making sure our judges have a clear understanding of that, then we can get singers the feedback that they really need.
So we got a bunch of people who are on here really excited watching the Q&A. People are even saying hi to Rebecca. They're saying hi to the singers and everything. And,
hey, Michelle. Hi.
Look at that. And we have Rebecca. She's looking forward to your performance today because we're unveiling that today. And Vicky, even she said she's seen on the edge of her chair waiting. So, yep, she does not know those scores, and also agrees about Ian and Thomas doing an amazing job. And thank you, Corrine. Corrine says we're looking great. We're looking great. And Ian is actually in my house right now in the other studio room. We want to make sure that we didn't have any internet issues this time. And man, it is great. Before I move on, I want to talk about some things because now the singers are in this waiting game and no one knows if they're making it. And they're also in a sort of a relaxation period for some of them. They're like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to make a video this week. Guess what, kids? You got to start making your videos for Worlds. And when I say videos, I actually mean video, because you're going to start off with one video. So I want to let them all know what's going on. So first of all, it's only one video you're going to submit first, because there are cuts between the first round, the semifinals, and the final rounds when you get to Worlds. So the videos are actually, the final video is due the last day it can be turned in. It's already open for everyone. Obviously, we don't know who our champs are, but other countries are getting prepared for it. But our last day is October 25th. October 25th. So we have a quick turnaround. I need you guys to take everything you've learned from your coaches and everything you've learned throughout the season and put that all together. I know that you all have a lot of songs in you. And I know that you all are actually really prepared. And I know it might seem stressful to try to figure out those songs. And we're going to actually talk about song selection in a little bit. But we need you guys to start working on those videos. We are here for you to give you coaching. Our coaching team is still around. We have our mentorship program. I'm here. I know that Ian's done judging, and our judges are done judging. So we also have a little bit more bandwidth to also give you some more notes. And but there are some rules we also need to follow. First of all, the video needs to be, which we've been doing, all in one shot, and there's no editing allowed. That even means that you can't fade out the beginning and end. Don't do that. There's no editing on that. Let them do that. Don't put a lower thirds in. Don't put your name in. Don't do that. Let them do that. It has to be done in one take. You can still do your audio and your video in one take. And it can be separate. Like one could be done. I know a lot of people are recording in GarageBand and then recording their camera separately, and then they merge it together. That is fine, but it has to be that same take. Lip syncing is not allowed. And I have not seen that at all from KWC people in the US, but it has happened before in the competition last year. at Worlds, and some of the countries didn't realize that they couldn't do it more like a music video style. And the singers went and they recorded themselves in one take and in the audio, but then redid the video and then sang with that track and as a lip sync. So they end up getting disqualified. If you do lip sync, it will be a disqualification. The other thing is there is no auto tune or any similar tuning software. It's forbidden. If they catch it or they hear it within your audio track, you will be disqualified. Again, echo and reverb are okay. Those are your friends. Anything, and I would not go heavy on it, especially going into Worlds. I would not go heavy on it. They want to hear your voice as clear as possible. But if you try to use auto tune or anything like that, or something that might cause a sound like that, don't use it. Just go as raw as possible. The other rule is the use of Smule or any similar singing application that has an auto tune or similar audio enhancements with visual branding, it's forbidden, and it's also grounds for disqualification. The video must not include any karaoke text, meaning the lyrics, other people, brands or logos, and any other messages that can be interpreted as offensive. Now, we have to realize that we're going into Worlds. So it's really easy that maybe our culture accepts something, but other cultures don't. Just leave that all behind. Don't have a sign that you pull up or anything like that. We've had that at nationals, and we knew that wouldn't probably do well at Worlds, and it was stuff that we had to talk about. There is more available if you want to look it up at karaokeworldchampionships.com/facts, meaning FAQ. I will actually put that in the bottom. And the final rounds for Worlds are going to be shown on November 6th for round 1A, 13th for round 1B. And when I'm saying 1A and 1B is because we have 3 singers from our country, they're going to split the round into 2 parts because for a time's sake, because they also don't want to just flood everyone with like a 2 or 3 hour show. So it'll be a round 1 and 2 round ones, 1A and round 1B. So 2 of them might be in round 1A and 1 might be in round 1B or vice versa. And then we'll have some cuts. From there, in round 2, it'll be shown on the 20th of November. And then on the 27th of November, good choice of that date. We'll have the finals, finals of the Worlds with round 3. And she can't hear me. Can everyone else hear me out there? I hope you can. Just write down in the bottom if you can or can't. So I hope everyone can hear me. The song must be in by October 25th. Yes. And the first round is round 1A and round 1B. And they'll be shown on the 6th of November and the 13th of November. So, yep. And they all saying they can hear me. Great. And just because sometimes on our side, on the production side, I can hear it. I know that Ian can hear me right now, but I don't know what you guys are hearing. So that always, and you'll even see that on TV, on the news nowadays when they're doing the Zoom things. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So, Ian.
Yes, sir.
You made a special video for us. And before we move on, I want to talk about this video. I want to talk to you about it because first of all, I love the video. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was adorable. But it has a great story. You told the story really well. We're going to talk about that later. But I want you to introduce the song and tell us why you chose the song. Because after your video, we're going to talk about breaking down a video when we're judging. And I'm going to talk about how it is like a sweater that's from one place and but is actually from another place. And I'm not going to make any analogies like that. But we're going to talk about how we break down the judges, about break out the scores when we're doing the judging. But I also want you to talk about why you chose it, because song choice, not only going into this round, but now the singers have to choose songs for Worlds. They don't even know if they're moving on, but they want to start getting that coaching, getting that practice down with the song now. And I've really felt like your story that you told in the song really plays out in this. And Ian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and appreciate the kind words. I'm glad you liked the video. I had one advantage over our singers, and that is that while I know people mentally judge the video, it's not being entered in competition. So I had a lot more freedom to think about my voice and what I wanted to say with the song. And we had a number of songs last year that I was critical of the song selection with, because it might sound real pretty, but when you think about what the lyrics actually are, they weren't necessarily very pretty, and in some cases kind of disturbing. So I really wanted to pick a song that the original sounds quite romantic, quite, standard within that kind of genre, but lean into the darkness of the lyrics and show that there is another side there, and use this opportunity to talk about some of those issues by using the performance that leans that way, really. So this is an old Fergal Sharkey song. I don't know how well known Fergal Sharkey is here, but he was the lead singer of a band called The Undertones and had some success there, and then went solo and had a couple of big hits. And this one is called I've Got News for You. And it's part of a tradition of songs, typically by men, of having some kind of casual encounter with someone and becoming obsessed with them, and presenting that as being a romantic ideal, when actually it very often isn't very romantic sounding. And when you think of it, I think a good example of what I'm talking about is James Blunt and his You're Beautiful, which sounds so pretty, and he sings it so well and so nice and innocent. But when you dive into the lyrics and realize that he saw this woman on the train and she smiled at him, and from then on, he's built this complete obsession with her. And we know this happens in real life as well. And those kind of songs can be part of some of the toxic relationships and personalities that we have, because it's the background culture that informs people about what kind of behavior is acceptable, what is normal. And so I thought it important to lean into that and say, okay, if we're really thinking about this guy who doesn't really know this, we'll say it's a woman, but it's really obsessing and thinking about, okay, I'm going to see them, or what they're going to do, how they're going to say, and kind of telling themselves, yeah, I'm a nice guy, I'm good. But to show that the ego that is in this, and that actually in all the thinking and the singing, the fantasy woman is not really a part of this at all, that it's all about them and how they feel about themselves and who they are. And so the character that I developed is very different from me, I hope. But to really lean into it and say, is this really what we want to pass off as a romantic standard, and as something that's very sweet and straightforward to listen to, because there's something very dark in it. And I think parts of that we might talk a little more about when we come to breaking it down. The other thing is, a lot of people are familiar that I've had a number of different issues and wasn't able to sing for a long time. 5 years ago, my doctors said to me, you need to stop singing. It's actually making some of your health issues worse. And for several years, that's what I did. And so I realized that I was miserable and not singing was part of it. But my voice, still has a lot of damage from that. So part of song selection is thinking, what song will work with my voice? And I needed a song that would work within my current limitations, but would still allow me to be expressive and still allow me to communicate, and still do things with my voice and still have some interesting moments of color and texture and bring something to it. So when we think about song selection, sometimes will it challenge me? Well, challenging is great if you can pull it off, but if you don't pull it off, then it's probably worse than not trying. So I had to find something that would fit within my singing parameters and from what I could do.
All right. Well, you know what? I asked everyone out there if they wanted to hear video, and people are saying yes, they do. So we are going to get that. We're going to show that in just a second. I want to switch this background really quick. All right, Ian, are you ready for your grand unveiling?
Oh, bring it on. Bring it on.
All right.
The bouquets and the brickbats, bring them.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Ian Murphy with I've Got News.
I can see clearly He loves you dearly, just by the way He looks at you. I got news for you, girl. I love you too. If heaven could send down a guardian angel to make him someone you never knew, then I would pray true, 'cause I love you too. If he ever breaks your heart, you and once reach your heart. One false move, I'll steal you away, and your love will be mine. But now every night when I go to sleep, can't tell you the hell I'm going through. I know he's thinking love to God, and I love you too. If he ever breaks your heart, you and once treat you right. One false move, I'll steal you away, and your love will be mine. Now every night when I go to sleep, can't tell you the hell I'm going through. I know he's making love to you, girl. I love you too. Well, I got news for you. I love you too.
Oh, I wish we had an applause. Yay! For that. What did you guys think? Let's go to the comments really quick and see what they're all right. A lot of yeses. Rebecca, your biggest fan. Oh yeah, look at this. Everyone love it. Eliza Longaker. Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And I think that it was really great for you to do that. It was awesome. So now the critiques, now the judging. So last year, we actually used to give them their feedback as we did, not this year, but last year. And a lot of people said it came off a little bit harsh at times. And everything, but you also have to understand that when we're doing this and we're judging, we actually need to sometimes it will be a little bit harsh. First of all, we don't like hearing criticism about our own talent and what we're trying to do and when we're putting love in it and everything else. That's part of it, but the only thing is we can only get better if we know what to work on, and we know there's no such thing as perfection. It's really hard in this competition to get 40 points. So I did not actually give you a score, Ian. I just took notes. You want me to go and score it? I mean, first I'm going to show everyone though the breakdown. Let's go over what the breakdown is. So this is what our judges score on. They score on the voice, which is quality of voice, mastery of voice, range, dynamics, and timbre. The technique, which is skill of using your voice. And then also the timing, breathing, pitch, and diction, artistry, which is your expressiveness, your musicality, your lyrical ability, the individuality, and the song choice, the stage presence, the confidence, the movement, the costume appearance, charisma, and audience appeal. So while I'm talking about this, I am actually going to give you a score then. Since you want the score, I will give you the score. Hold on. So out of 40 points, each one of these, they can get anywhere from 0.1 to 10. No one can ever get a 0. I don't ever believe that there's a 0. I also don't believe there's anything really under a 1. So really we start at 1. 5 means that you're a good karaoke singer. So, you know, that there are things that you can work on when you're a 5. And then a 10 means, why are you standing in front of me? You should be on tour. And you know, you shouldn't be in the competition if you're scoring perfect 40s. It's really, really, really hard to get a 40 in this competition. I very rarely have ever given them out. When I was judging, I know that you very rarely give them out, and I know a lot of judges very rarely give them out. So I'm going to be doing this whole. I'm going to all right. Sorry, I'm like, I don't want to score because I want to give you a score, but I guess that's what I'm doing here.
I think it's good for me to experience that moment of vulnerability like our singers.
Right.
A lot of the time, comments you can read into it either way, but if there's a score that goes with the comment, then you're like, okay, I really did. So it's just been nice.
And also, people need to know about this. So, Fergal. So, is it Fergal or Fergal? Fergal, Sharky. So, this song came out in 1991, right? From songs, I looked at the song, the history and everything. And it was the number 20. It was 12 in the UK and 8 in Ireland. So that's it. It's something that here I wasn't familiar with the song to start off with. But that's also not going to affect your points. I'm just telling you right now.
And Fergal, you know, he has a very romantic arrangement set up and a huge grand piano on the stage that he's playing and makes it this very smooth ballad.
Hold on, I'm still scoring. I take my time while scoring this. I was like, oh, I'm not going to score it because for the sake of that.
The hard thing is watching it back is always that sense of, oh, I should have done one more take. I hear that pitchy note. Oh, God,
yeah.
song, and then I hear it. Very strange to watch it back and to watch it through a screen and see even more of the flaws.
Now, when I start watching a video, I usually watch when I'm doing this via online and like last year. When I'm watching this and it's not on stage, because in stage you only have that time really to judge, and about 2 minutes after that performance. Here we have that really nice ability to go back, watch things again, and watch things again. The first thing I always like to look is the overall production or how it's shot. And I know we try not to judge as much, but going into Worlds, especially at this level, we actually have to start judging the staging of it. And I thought your staging was wonderful. I love the outfit you did. You end up getting all those little points that some people leave behind. The hat, the facial expressions you're doing. It really lent itself to that song. The stage performance was great. I really liked it.
Wow, thank you.
At times I did feel like you're being a little bit tentative and you can give us just a little bit more, but you got an 8.25.
Wow.
Yeah, on that.
Thank you.
And also I really enjoyed it. And part of it is that overall entertainment and that appeal. And I really liked it. Next, we're going to talk about your artistry on that. Again, it's going in from what you're doing with making that scene, telling that story. There's the problem I have with this is it's a Smule problem. Smule audio, you never know what you're really going to get. I can make the same song. I can do it like 3 times. Every single time it's going to sound a little bit different. It's part of it's the ability of using the headset. I know Kareen actually makes a video showing how to use it, but like with the headsets, you sort of almost want to hold that little thing close to your mouth and pull it away if you're using the headset mic, but then you're getting that same like weird, why is this hand there? So I like that you were wearing it the whole time, but I felt like we weren't getting the full tone that we could get. So we're losing some of the artistry because the words were it was a little bit quiet compared to the audio. Another thing is when you're in Smule and you listen to it back and you're doing the little editing, because you can turn up after you've recorded, you can turn up your microphone, turn down the music. But even when it sounds good in your headset, you'll then go and upload it and it will be a little bit quiet. And I think when you first sent it to us, I said that was like, oh yeah, that was a little quiet. And you said, should I do it again? I was like, no, I love it. Like, I don't think you should do it again. I really like how it was because it really showed a rawness. But the artistry to it, I really like. Again, the facial expressions, what you're doing, your dynamics were really good, but your dynamics were being lost because of that Smule sound and also the Smule look of the washed outness of the screen. But again, you have to use what you have. And so, but you got an 8.25 on that too.
Wow.
Oh,
you're the nice judge this round.
Well, yes, but we haven't talked about vocals or technique yet. Part of it is because I know that you've told me the story about health and everything else and told me what happened with your voice. So for that, like, I'm judging as a judge. I don't know about that. Pretending I don't know about that. So vocals, when you're doing some of the things you're doing with your lips, it's causing a weird shift in the tone and pitch of your voice. So I want you to make sure that when you're doing it, I couldn't hear you enunciate that much. So I struggled to hear that. Sometimes hear those words like, what's going on? And part of it was because it was a little bit lower, but the other reason is because you weren't enunciating enough. And when you enunciate more, and you can tell that you can make those words a little bit clearer, people are like, ooh, they're really feeling it. And there's a difference between over enunciation and not enough. At the same time, I sort of like that you weren't enunciating it much, because I don't feel like that character would be enunciating much. So it was sort of like, oh, but I had to get the technique. So on the artistry, you're getting those like little points on it, where on the technique, it sort of was like, oh, okay, well, I really wanted to hear those words clearer.
That's totally fair. And if I can just say, you're absolutely right. And this is part of why I say it was for performance and not competition. That some of those things, as a vanity project or putting this together and putting out a song, there are things that I had the luxury that I could do. But when you're scoring it for competition, you're absolutely right to pick up on those things and to score them down. And spot on, Josh.
Thank you. We're gonna keep going. Look at this, everyone. Corrine says she wanted to hear your voice a little bit more out front, less reverb and room character, and that's something in that Smule program. You just never know. So the other thing is, with dynamics, you need to know when to push. I felt like there, again, at times that while you thought you were being louder, like to get something across, it just needed to be a little clearer. But again, that room character and less reverb, and with the less reverb and less room character, we would have gotten more of that. Technique wise, I gave you a 4. Just because but if I knew what's like, I don't put what's going on.
Right. Absolutely.
Vocals, I thought vocally, I thought you were doing a lot of really good things in there. I would want this to be taken up one, but Smule doesn't allow you to do that. I felt like it was almost too low, and it puts you at a very uncomfortable point in how you're singing. You sort of need to really tank up more and really get that diaphragm activated to try to get those low notes. But then also, it's so low where it's sort of like almost like a weird like it sounds monotone. I can't put that in words. But everything, I mean, it says again, it's, I'm trying to see what else I can't even read my own writing. I love the subtlety of your voice. But again, it was more of, throughout the whole thing, I just kept saying it needs to be up one. It needs to be up more. I want to hear things that I can't hear because it is so low. But in vocals, you got a 6. When I do judge, and when I'm in the mindset of judging, and when we're at like a state finals, I actually take it really seriously. And I know that all of our judges do. I've seen judges argue with other judges about it, that other people aren't taking it serious. Everyone has a completely different opinion, which is why we bring in a big selection of judges. So your total was a 26.5, which means that you're better than a regular karaoke singer by 1 point. By a good karaoke singer. But that's a good thing. But I also feel like you need to know, and I know what to do to get better. The production value was amazing. And look at what Becca said. Becca said, "How low can you go?" But I would love to hear that. Just keyed up one, and I might have a track if you want to do it here or something. I could just reshoot that sometime.
Okay.
But I do like that song for you. I like what you brought to it, and but also watching what the judges throughout the season, that we have access to scores and notes, and seeing that someone would love a performance, another person would hate a performance, or a judge who always scores higher that doesn't mean that they're a nicer judge. It just means that their score higher, because you can actually watch variances and how everything moves. And it's like, oh, they actually are, it's just they have a different point in their own head that they like to give, but you can see how that all falls together. Although there are always going to be a judge who loves someone, another one who's like, oh, I did not like that at all. And, but that's why we do Olympic scoring, right?
Right.
So
no, I think what you've described there is a great way to illustrate the importance of leaning into our strengths. So we all know that, you know, vocally is not going to be my best at this point in my life, and the technique is not going to be the best. But therefore, looking at where are the categories I can pick up points, where are the things I can do, and really, you know, trying to lean into them and oftentimes trying to raise a 7 to an 8 or an 8 to an 8.5 is easier than trying to take something you're a 2 or a 3 in and raising that to a 4. Something that you already do well and have natural talent for is often something that's easier to amplify and pick up that extra point and do those extra things. And so the way you've broken that down shows where the points can most easily be found. And once you've then established that kind of baseline, you can build from there.
Exactly. And now let's move on to talking about song selection. So what's cool is when the singers for the final round, when they actually went to go post their videos and send them to us, we asked them why they chose that song, what was going in their head, and we got some amazing answers. I'm actually going to talk about each one of the singers and what their responses were. Usually this whole season, I was hoping I was going to have the midweek check-ins with them every single week. It just could not happen with scheduling. And this was actually a good way to also get their feedback. I'm going to start with Rebecca. Now I'm going to talk about what song they sang, because you'll see that next week. I don't want to ruin surprises. But Rebecca Washburn said, I chose the song because the message resonates with me. To be laughed at and told my place is in the middle is something I've experienced. This song has been suggested to me by many people, and the line, they dress you down and tell your place is in the middle, and they call you weak after carrying your baby on the back across the desert, resonated with me because I felt that in real life. So that's great, because you're personalizing it. And when you're feeling that, especially when you're doing something for a final round or worlds, those are the type of things where it's like you really can get the meat and tell that story and really feel it, and you're giving your all. So I don't know what the scores were, though, for that. So
well, I wonder how many people recognize what the song is from that lyric.
Yep. I know.
Well,
I'm like,
it's me, but I don't know how many people will recognize it from that.
So you also have that list in front of you of what everyone said. Why don't you tell us what Renee Turcotte said about why she chose her?
Renee said, I thought it would be fun to challenge myself and to choose a song that's not typically chosen for a finale song. I wanted something I could change and make my own.
I love that. I love that. Artistry is one of the things that can easily lose you points if you're not making it your own, if you're not feeling it. When people are singing songs, and I've seen people who actually should have probably made it into the final rounds and just missed out. And part of it was that they weren't making it their own. They were so straight or deadpan. They didn't have the dynamics, and they were just giving it to us, but they weren't giving it to us, you know, that made the difference of them moving on or not. And
it's important to remember, we have Lady Gaga's version. We have Janet Jackson's song. We have Madonna's. We can listen to them anytime we want and every time we want. We don't want to hear that. We want to know that you can hit the notes, but you've got to find a way of inserting yourself into the song so that it's you that we're listening to, and it's worth tuning in for because it's Renee or because it's Rebecca or Karina or whoever. And so Renee's explanation of choosing that song fits perfectly into that a well-known song that she could find a way to insert herself into. Not normally a finale song, but she thought she could find a way to do that. We'll find out next week if she did.
Very true. All right, Paul Mayer. So Paul, what I found out about Paul is I did check it when we got close to the deadline and we only had like 4 or 5 people we were waiting on songs from. I did send little messages out, and he's one of the people I sent a message out just saying, hey, just let you know this is the time, just like that little quick reminder and making sure, they're on it. And he said to me, and that's not written here, he said, yeah, I know. Last minute I changed my song. I'm uploading it right now. So the day of that upload, he changed it. And what he said was, when he filled out the form was, I started this competition here from this musical, and I want to go out in a blaze with the same kind of bang. So if you've been watching since the beginning, you might actually can figure out what musical that's from. And I love that because I remember what musical that was, and I was like, I really like that performance. So I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see what this one's gonna be and scores. Ian, I want you to talk about Corrine Beckman.
So Corrine said, I chose this song because it was different than anything I've done before. It required a very high belt on the end. I had to work hard to do it. It was a joint decision with my vocal coach, Miriam. So I touched on this earlier. Song selection, picking something with a high note or a high belt in this case, challenging yourself. If you can pull it off, it's a chance to really impress. But if you miss that big one, note if something goes wrong, it can also really torpedo your performance and your score. So setting yourself a challenge is great as long as you meet it. Okay, Corrine, did you do it? We'll find out soon.
We'll find out next Sunday. Next we have Parnell Lester, and he said the song simply moved him the very first time he heard it, and it helped him find a new side of his voice. And I cannot wait for you guys to see that. That is when someone says something like that. I found songs like that myself where I'm like, ooh, or I've recommended songs to other people because I was like, you should try this song sometime. And they'll be like, oh, and they would something they wouldn't even think of. And next thing you know, it's their go-to. I cannot wait for everyone to see it next week. It's going to be phenomenal. And the song is, we won't know until next week. And next we have Veronica Moon.
Veronica said, I feel it showcases both the tenderness and the strength of my voice. I also like how emotional the song is. So here's someone who's really thinking about what kind of voice they have, what kind of song will suit it, and what different emotions can they portray with it, can they bring to it? What different flavors can they pull out of a song?
Awesome. Next, Grant Cullum said, the reason he chose this song was the emotional connection he has with it. And I like that. That's like, seems like it's a common thread throughout this whole thing. And that's, again, really important because if you don't connect with the song, especially when you're going to a final round or Worlds, and he's been to Worlds, really, that's something that you might not want to think about doing then. And that's the one thing with all the Grant songs. I always feel like he always has the biggest reason he chooses his songs is due to his emotional connection to it. Next, we have Chris Hoffman.
Chris said, it's a timeless, well-known and special song that I can connect with emotionally. So presumably it's something that everybody will know, and hopefully we all feel that connection to.
That's awesome. So Camille Gomez said she wanted to do this song because she wanted to do a take on a Broadway classic and spin it on its head. Go big, take risks, or go home. Now, no one has heard her do music theater or Broadway musicals. This whole competition, I can't wait for you guys to see it. I know a lot of you have seen what she's done with other songs and the variety of different versions that are out there of songs. I can't wait. I can't wait to see her spin on a Broadway musical song.
I love Camille's attitude. You know you're always going to enjoy her performance, and I think at this point in the competition, it's a great attitude that she has to take there. Take some risks, see what we can do. Will it work? Will it backfire? Again, we'll find out next week. But sometimes you could play safe. Sometimes you've got to go for it, and I think she knows her gut on that one.
And last but not least, Beth Brennan.
Beth Brennan. Beth said, I love the fact that it's just piano and voice, raw, emotional, and naked. There's no place to hide in this song, scary but exciting. This song affords a lot of room to put my own fingerprints on it. I'd make it uniquely mine. Lyrically, it's a place most of us go to emotionally. We're just hoping someone hears us in this world. I love that about this song. So I really love, in the detail of that description, you can tell that Beth really understands this song. She not only relates to it, but she understands why it could be good theatre, why it could be a good performance song. And she's trying to play to her strengths here. She knows that there's vulnerability there with just piano and voice, but she's like, yeah, I can do this. I can pull this off. I can present that part. I can put it out there and bring this home.
That's, yep. And I can just imagine what she's going to bring to the song. I can't wait for you guys to see it next week. Every single one of these, like, everyone really brought their A game. The one thing, so I'm in your judges chat and judges group, so I get to see what everybody said. And the one thing is, everyone was so blown away by these final videos. They really were. And we always say that, and every time they are, but this time it was really like, they were like, oh my goodness, like, it was, they knew that this was it. Like, you could tell in every performance. When you're in round two, or round one, you're sort of like, sometimes it takes people to build up steam to the end. Other people, it's like, oh, I did this great one at first. I'm now going to take a risk on two, and then I'm going to come back with a bang. So, this one, everyone came back with a bang. Everyone came back with a bang. And all the judges also really loved all the singers throughout the season. Really couldn't. They're always so excited, and they want more. It's so funny because they're like, the season's over. Like, we want more. So next year, a lot of those judges hopefully will come back when we're physical, because next year we will be back on stage. Also these judges, I really hope we can get their feedback throughout to Worlds, and also when we put together our panel. So when we get to Worlds, the scoring's a little bit different. I want to just quickly talk about that, because last year it changed when we went to Worlds, and it doesn't change because I know how we do it here. So it's more of a Eurovision type of scoring, and we're picking out their favorites, like, who do you think are the top, and the jury goes through and they give those points of, like, here's 10 points for this person, and it goes down that list. The thing about it is, though, is that we are using, and when I talk to some of the directors from other countries, we're still using our rubrics to figure that out. We're just not giving arbitrary numbers. Nobody wants to do it. But with Eurovision, they're seeing how that works, and so they want to give it that kind of flair. Now, the US isn't as familiar with Eurovision, so you guys can watch that. I know that we had the movie with last year, but it's something that last year took us like, oh, okay. But also, our jury does not judge our singers when we get to Worlds. Our jury judges everyone else. The countries don't judge their own singers. So they're all trying to find the ways to really break it down. Plus, they want the right winner too. So because they're not doing their own country, it takes out that bias. It takes out that bias. And I really can't wait to see also what our panel is, because we have not actually set our panel yet for Worlds, and we have a giant selection. We had so many judges this year, and I know Aaron Crawford was like, oh my god, I still want to do more of this. Like, he hit me up like thanking me and like saw his messages. And thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you to all of our judges. Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much, Thomas, for all your hard work throughout the season, really finding the right people and really to find out who the next world champion is. Speaking about world champions, so last year, one of our U.S. champs who went to the Worlds and was in the final round, was invited to come back this year, and she's like, "No, I want to really concentrate on making music and start and being a vocal coach and doing all these other things with like vocally and with music." And she put out her very first single about almost a week ago, and it is amazing. First of all, I listened to it the first time, and it was like, this fits her personality. Like, if you know Miranda Longaker and you've heard her sing, the song that she wrote and put together, it is so Miranda. It was unexpected because I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, oh, a lot of people record a lot of different stuff, and it's so original and so fresh. It also has a feel of like a lot of the quirkiness of the new music that's out there, but also like it shows her artistry, and it is so cute. I've listened to it so many times. I gotta admit, I've listened to it so many times. And then this week, which I was like, oh yeah, I want to show this on our show, on our Q&A. And then this week, she posted, oh, and if so many people like my song on Spotify and everything else, she says on everything like Amazon Music and Apple Plus and like everything. She's like, if I get some more people, I'll put out the music video. I'll release the music video. And I hit her up right away. I was like, I was so hoping you were going to say there was a music video because I really want to show this to everybody. And we're not judging it on any scoring, Miranda, because this is original. And also, I adore it, and I adored your video as well. And so Miranda, her artist name, if you were looking her up on all the different platforms out there for music, it is under Myra Dasu. So I'm going to actually show that really quick.
Judge, if I may, the pronunciation, I believe, is Mira Dasu.
Mira Dasu. Sorry. Thank you.
Dasu.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I did not clarify with that. She just said I say really nice things, and then I butchered the name. However, everyone knows that I butchered my name. Her song is called Trina, and we're gonna debut it right here. We got the music video. I know a lot of you got to see this in a little private chat the other day that I had to work and I couldn't be a part of, and I was like, no, but I also had gotten to see it and got the video before you guys got to see it. So so thank you very much, Miranda. And one of the great champs. And not only was she a champ, but she also helped judge as well throughout this competition. And also has given pointers, I know, to some singers. And I just adore your talent. You're amazing. I'm going to show you guys why, and you are going to love it too. Here is Mira Dasu. Mira Dasu.
There we go.
Trina.
You're trying everything you've got, wearing all the hats to shoot my shot, landing in the pieces, running backwards, trying to get to your love, searching for whatever I could find, digging all the gardens, swinging on lines, talking to myself, needing so much help, trying to get to your love. You can do everything under the sun, but if you don't treat your life as fun, how will you feel when everything is said and done? La 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 la. all shaking as I go, discarding my last wins onto the next with no worry or relation. Who's got any patience to get to your love? You can do everything under the sun, but if you don't treat your life as fun, doing all this fun, missing the point, tired, frustrated, where's my joy? You might do everything under the sun, burning out, I wonder, where's the fun? La, 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 ya, na, 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 la, ya, na, 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 la, ya, I'm trying to get to. I might never get back what I've got. Now's the only time to shoot my shot. Will I be okay with waiting? Trying to feel my own love.
That was it's such a great song. It really is. And like Chris Hoffman said, it was just like it needs to be in a movie soundtrack or like a commercial or something. Like I feel like that's something I would hear a zillion times because it's so catchy and so different than what we're hearing all the time. And I love your originality. Keep making more music. Everyone, look at this. Look at everyone's loving it. Miranda, can you answer one thing? And I should actually send you a link to be on here. But did you do the whistling at the end? Because I love to whistle. Like when I do it in songs, like I do Dock of the Bay, and I always do the end piece. It's just really hard to whistle into a microphone or catch it correctly. Did you whistle in it? She did do the whistling. Oh yeah, nice. And I'm pretty sure it was on a condenser mic because you can't on a dynamic mic you would hear the. So it was a great job because your whistling also was really great mid pitch. Look. Ooh. Yeah, good thing her producer won on that. The whistling was a huge fight, and her producer wanted to cut it. I mean, she wanted to cut it, and he wanted to keep it. Yes, and everyone like, look at this, like perfection. And look, and Vicky said it was filmed at Picnic Point in Edmonds. Now, watching that, like I knew it was definitely shot in Washington because of the water and I saw the mountains in the background and a lot of greenery. And being in Vegas, I haven't seen that in a really long time. So it was great to see because also I could actually smell the water, like and the greenery.
I think the Washington Tourist Board needs to see this video. I think they might be very interested.
Ooh.
It's such a great promotion for the state.
Yep. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, Miranda, let's see if we can put that together for you. So before I finish, I want everyone to remember that next week at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the national finals final round of the Karaoke World Championships. Now, in years past, when they're getting their scores, sometimes we weighted it. This is not weighted. Their average scores are actually going to get added right back in to where they scored in the last round. So these rankings right here, those scores are going to be combined with next week's score. And it's going to be combined with that average score to find out who is going to be going home And you see it is really, really close. It is 4.48 difference between Parnell and Renee. And this is a close one. It is close. But it also shows when we get into those final rounds, like at nationals, where when we say that it can be anyone out of the top 10, we feel comfortable saying to worlds, we mean it, because look at how close that is. Those scores rank, it's an amazing ranking. Again, we're going to be doing the Olympic scoring, so we're going to drop the top and the bottom, and then we're going to take those total scores and it's averaged out so you guys can see what your scores are based on a 40-point scale. When you start seeing things like, oh, why did this person score me 215? Because like we used to total it up. It doesn't give those singers enough to grow. It doesn't give them enough explanation of what those scores actually are. So we really wanted to this year go ahead and just really use the averages so you can see, and I hope everyone likes that. So I was going to end today with showing a video that I made, but unfortunately my video is not working. It won't upload. Yeah, I know, right? It's too big. It's too big for the system.
That's what she said.
Yeah, right. But this year we had a big loss in the Karaoke World Championships. One of our not only board members, but was our Washington State director and a huge friend to everybody in the Karaoke World Championships. He's family. And we lost Christian Fabian this year. And I wanted to show you guys the video that I made for his family, because they asked us all, me and Bill and Pat, to make some Pat Clark, to make videos for his dedication. And I really felt like it was really important to also share it with you guys. So I'll probably be showing that next week at the end, because I really want this year also to be dedicated to him, because he was such a positive force when it came to KWC, believed in all these singers, really want to help him out. It's weird not doing this with him. I think about him every day. And also thinking about some of the things that I really wish he was here to help you with, like the video stuff and sound and things like that. But I know that he's up there just rooting you guys on and watching all these videos and like, yes, like totally digging on what you guys are doing. And, and so this year I really wanted to do a dedication to him. What a fantastic person, great board member, Christian Fabian. May you rest in peace. We love you, brother. With that, I think we are done. Does any singer out there have any questions out there about what to do next? Like I said, start working on the next music. It could be something you've already done. Ian, actually, I want to talk to you about that really quick, because with them choosing these final songs, you said something to me in our personal messages about choosing songs. You said a lot of people are going back to the stuff that's worked for them in the past. But sometimes that's not always the best idea. Can you give anyone the tips on this?
Well, I think sometimes we're guilty of, we've always done this, we know we do it well, but it's also maybe kind of a little old. Or we look at worlds and we see what kind of songs are doing well there, and we want to repeat that. We want to emulate that success. But really, we want to be looking forward. It's rare for you to hear a song win worlds and it win again the next year, or something that's top 3 in worlds be top 3 again. I don't know. We're always looking to capture the zeitgeist and to move it forward. And so it's not enough to look and say, okay, these 5 songs have done well at worlds, I should do that. We want to know next year, in 12 months' time, what song are people going to be talking about that they saw at worlds and said, yes, that's the song I should be doing. So we want to be probing a little bit further out there and thinking a little more about, what have I not seen at worlds that I could take to worlds and just be the bomb, and just be the person who gives that breakout performance and makes people pay attention to a different song.
Exactly. And one of the things with Worlds was when Michael White went to Worlds and he kicked off with a Mark Broussard song for his first song. It was no one does that song at Worlds. And it was so cool because he brought all this energy and a different side that like, because he mostly sings ballads, and started with that. And I was like, bam, all that energy, and it scored incredibly well. Guys, don't be afraid to do something that no one's heard at Worlds or in Nationals. Don't be afraid to do that song that you really love and that you can bring your own artistry and your own spin to a song. That's how you want to come out. If you're thinking about doing things like Whitney Houston, it's really hard. I'm just using that as an example. Whitney Houston, it's really hard to try to differentiate from her version because you do have purists who are like, oh, I really want to hear you sing it like Whitney. Or you have the people who are like, oh, I really want you to do it. But then if you're trying to branch away from it, it's really hard to make it your own. But if you can, then that's power. But if you do it dead on, I don't know how it would score at Worlds at this point because everyone's singing. I always hear like Greatest Love of All, or now I can't think of it. The one that Dolly Parton sang, originally wrote, and she wanted it for Elvis, and then it was in the Bodyguard. I Will Always Love You. Things like that, where I know the judges actually don't get sick of these songs. They get sick of it when it's just the same dialed in performance. When you hit Worlds, these cannot be dialed in. They can't. We need you to just break out and give us your all. So that is our challenge to you. If you need any help with song selections, you have a bunch of us. You have our coaches, you have our full board, you have me, Katie, Ian, Thomas, Garvando, tons of world champs you can reach out to. Our mentorships. Bill Clark's out there, more than willing to help you. And he's been to Worlds with us. He knows what's wins. Reach out to Miko. Reach out to Miriam. There's so many people that can help you along this journey. And there's also all, like Chris, there's also all these videos online to show you can find out what's been sung a zillion times. So I would say if you have seen it done a zillion times, maybe it's time to move on from that song. And look at Chris Hoffman. I think especially with the videos with well-known songs, there's also a lot more opportunity to present them in a new creative way. Exactly. However, again, we don't know how a world panel goes. There are some people who are going to want to hear you, and some judges in other countries, they're going to want to hear you sing it so straight, dead on. What we don't plan on is, like, a lot of people like to do postmodern jukebox or Boyce Avenue versions or acoustic versions. We don't know how those play out at Worlds because every year is different. And some years that hits, and some years it doesn't hit. So be yourself, do your best. Becca's going to do it in a dog suit, so I can't wait to do it in a dog suit. She might sing it in a T-Rex costume on top of an iceberg.
I want to see that now. I want to see that video.
Yeah, right. But everybody, just remember, this is only part of the journey. Congratulations to everyone putting all your 100% effort into all of this to get to the national finals. And I wish you all the best of luck to win next week, because I know that I'm a fan of each and every one of you. Ian, I would like to thank you for coming on and also being in my house and doing this as well. And also I want to thank, again, Thomas, Garvando, our board, our production team. Everyone's put in so much hard work this year. And this year, every year we're like, oh, it's going to be easier. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be, no, it doesn't matter if it's on stage or if it's virtual or whatever. It's always a lot of work. And these people do this for the love of it. They are not asking for pay. And we really appreciate it. And we really, from the Bomber House, we thank all of you. I especially want to thank Katie Barron, who doesn't get enough thanks and isn't brought up enough on here, but our national producer, if she wasn't there, she is the voice of reason. She's also the one who reels in and has to keep it real sometimes and make a lot of people mad. And she doesn't like doing that, but she has to be the tough one. So thank you, Katie, so much for everything you do for us and at the Karaoke World Championships. And obviously, we've won a lot of medals because of it. And we're going to win another one this year. So thank you so much. And with that, everybody, please tune in next week, Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And cannot wait. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Ian. Love you all. Oh, wait. Oh, what? What's that? Is that the trophy?
This is the trophy.
That is the trophy.
This is huge.
That is huge. Yes. Yes, we don't go small in these. This is America. America. We don't go small. Everyone, the trophy. Here, I'm going to make that bigger. We're going to make that bigger. Here we go. Hold on. We're going to look at the trophy that someone is going to win next week. Someone will win that trophy, as well as $1,000, other prizes, medal, and yeah. Ooh, we might have lost some people along the way because I'm like saying goodbyes and they're like, "Oh, I'm leaving." But that's an amazing trophy, and thank you, Katie, because Katie actually picked out that trophy. So thank you all again, and we will see you next week during the Karaoke World Championships National Finals, and best of luck to all of you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I realized that. I was like, wait a minute, I have a trophy.